Welcome to our weekly discussion of all things current in California politics. I'm Walt Gray. Joining this week is Emily Hoeven, political expert for CalMatters.org. Emily, we're trying to still figure out the budget surplus in California, thought to be $30 billion, maybe they said $60 billion. The day it came out, closer to $100 billion. Is that a good thing?
The governor's budget outlook was relatively rosy, obviously pointing out this massive surplus that they can use to reinforce the state's safety net programs and make, new one-time investments that won't, force the state to make longer term payments down the line.
So there was a law that was overturned in California that stipulated women had to serve on boards, or certain percentages of women. That's been thrown out. Is that like a step backwards in women's rights?
Well, I think supporters of the law have sort of said, it's California wants to increase diversity. We want to have more women on corporate boards, and that's the direction society is heading. So for them to strike down this law is just ridiculous and kind of goes against that grain. But you're right. So this law basically mandated that publicly held companies that are headquartered in California have to have at least one woman on their board of directors. And the state was not actually enforcing this law because they knew that it may or may not actually be constitutional or legal. And so when the Superior Court judge struck it down, it didn't really come as a surprise, but it did deal a blow to California because just last month, another judge struck down a law that required California publicly held companies to diversify their corporate boards. It sort of seems that California sometimes does pass these laws that it knows may be legally suspect because it wants to prove a point about its values. But the state is planning to appeal the women on corporate boards decision.
We have a local congressional race coming up. Scott Jones, Kevin Kiley, two Republicans. Donald Trump has just endorsed Kevin Kiley, who, when he was running for governor in the recall, I asked him, hey, people are linking you with Trump. And he said that he didn't even want to really talk about that. It was a non-starter for him. Are you surprised that Donald Trump has endorsed Kiley over Scott Jones, who's also known to be a supporter of Mr. Trump's?
Well, I think Jones himself was surprised, and he actually said as much. And he said, why is he endorsing Kiley? Like, I'm the one who is tough on crime. I'm the one that has been maybe more vocally in Trump's corner in the past. And Kiley, I actually recently went on a podcast this week, and Kiley was a guest after me on the podcast, and he talked about how he actually met Trump briefly at a golf resort in California, and I think that was sort of the meeting that sealed the deal, and he was able to garner the support from the former president, and he is accepting that with open arms. And he said that that's the most highly sought after and coveted endorsement if you're in the Republican Party. And so I think that might be the clearest indication yet of his potential allegiance to the former president. And it will be very interesting to see if that does make a difference in this race, where, as you said, there's another Republican candidate who, being the sheriff of Sacramento County, has made a name for himself in the public safety arena.
Interesting to see where all that goes, that race, whether that endorsement's going to do it for Kiley. Emily, thank you as always on this Sunday. Cal Matters, a nonpartisan news organization explaining California policies and politics. Find their work at calmatters.org. You can also sign up for Emily's newsletter there.